what does being Jewish look like for Howie Mandel?
Every time I'm at a urinal looking down, can you be pro-Palestine without being anti-Israel?
It's a great question.
Ooh with a J is a Jew, but great with a J is a drate.
Bruchim habaim yeladim. Welcome to a very special episode of Being Jewish with Jonah Platt. If you're watching this on YouTube or JBS, you might already notice I am not in my usual studio. I'll tell you why right after I tell you about an amazing event going down on February 3rd, hosted by the Jewish Federation of Broward County. It's the ultimate night out, where I'll be chatting live on stage with modern-day Maccabee and actress extraordinaire Deborah Messing. Registration closes on January 28th, and there are no walk-ins allowed. So go register now at jewishbroward.org. All right, so where am I today? I'm in Van Nuys, which, if you know anything about Van Nuys, you know you better have a damn good reason to be in Van Nuys, which, lucky for all of us, I most certainly do. My guest today, whose own podcast studio we are in, is an entertainment industry legend. His career, like the man himself, is a little bit unusual, zigzagging across mediums and interests from stand-up comedy to animation to iconic game shows to esports teams to holoportation devices, which is a long way of saying that, like me, he's got ADHD. He's also got a deep connection to his Jewish identity and is a staunch supporter of Israel, though the most Jewish thing about him might be that he's Yitzhak Perlman's distant cousin. America's got talent, but he sure as hell does too. Ladies and gentlemen, open that case and welcome Mr. Howie Mandel.
Wow. Are they standing?
The audience
The
for
audience.
that?
I'm just waiting. Sit down. That's not necessary wherever they are. But Baruch Hashem Yeladim.
There you go.
Isn't
Bruchim
it-
habayim yeladim.
But Yeladim is children.
Children. Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
like kids. Like, and Bruchim habayim means welcome. So welcome,
So you have
kids.
this is a kid show. I didn't realize this is a
the,
kid.
the,
a
you
young
know, the colloquial kids. You use guys.
children of God.
Children of God. Perfect.
Oh, that's what you're doing.
Exactly.
I don't really speak Hebrew. I just that was the.
Oh, well, there goes that question. Okay.
No, but I I went to Hebrew school.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Do you speak Hebrew?
I like,
That was
not
it.
well. That was, yes, that's
That's
basically
just
all I
reading
have.
Hebrew off a teleprompter.
And I went to Jewish day school all the way up through 8th grade.
Did you really?
And I did not come away with very good Hebrew linguistic skills,
I
unfortunately.
know Sheket.
There you go.
I've
That's a
heard
good one.
Sheket the most. That's the most commonly used word, which I take as you're blessed.
Yes, exactly right.
Because
Yeah,
it was said to me, and I got more blessings than any kid in my Hebrew school.
I love that. Let's just preserve that for you. So, Howie, the list of outspoken Hollywood Jews is sadly quite short, but you are absolutely on there. Let's set the baseline here. How much is being Jewish a part of your day-to-day life? Like, what does being Jewish look like for Howie Mandel right now?
Every time I'm at a urinal looking down, I'll give you a little context for my Judaism. I'm not that observant of Judaism, but I am, and I'm proud to be a Jew.
Mhm.
I'm not a huge fan of organized religion
Sure.
and institutions, but growing up, my quality time with my father was during the high holidays and going to temple, and that's where I got to spend. We spent time together, and we would walk to the temple. He was much more observant than me. When he passed away really young, and out of respect for my father, I would say I said Kaddish for a year. I had to work,
Right.
and I at that time, and still I do it a lot, I was touring a lot. But at that time, I was touring like 200 nights a year, 200 cities a year. So I had it written into my contract
Right.
that they weren't allowed to start the show before sundown. When you're doing summer outdoor dates,
That's a late night.
that's a late night. So because I had to do it's called Mincha and Marav, which is
Right.
the blessings
The services
before,
middle
and you have
afternoon
to
and
have a
evening.
minyan, which is a group of 10 men. This was written into my contract. A lot of people have riders where they want the green M&Ms.
Right.
I just wanted 9 other Jews.
Whose job is it to find the 9 Jewish guys in like Des Moines?
The promoter.
And he had, like, what were they doing? Was it like
They
put
had
out a
no.
want ad? Where they
It was so funny. And
rounding
so
up people at the synagogue on a shuttle?
I am so upset that I did not carry a camera or think, because that would have been. It's an amazing documentary
Of
the different places. Like, they couldn't find. So they would find, they'd go, is it good enough? We found somebody, we looked in the paper and we found a Jew that had just died and they're sitting Shiva. Can you go to somebody's house?
Can you go to someone else's Shiva to say Kaddish for your father?
Right.
At their Shiva.
Well, you can. You'd say Kaddish. When, if you know Kaddish, it is for whoever's the morning. You know, you are doing it. So that's where you were going to find the minyan. And I'm sitting there and they always give me a little bag of herring to carry back to the theater or wherever I was going to play. But at the same time, you know, and a lot of times I would find the local temple or whatever to do it in, and the people who conducted the service would do teachings from the Talmud. And I got to learn and kind of understand things that I did and interpret things that I had never thought of before, and kind of it really kind of changed me and adhered me to what I believe the true purity of our religion should be.
Which is what?
These are my interpretations, so
Yeah.
so don't yell at me.
No, that's what Judaism's all about, is interpretation.
Okay, so first of all, the first thing was tzedakah. Do you know what that is?
Charity.
Right, but the tzedakah box, which was there, you know, every night, was a box where you go up and you drop something in the box, and nobody sees what you drop. And the purity of tzedakah is to give to somebody in need without telling somebody who you are, what you've dropped in there, which is is much of the part of the giving. It's just as important to do it kind of anonymously, because. Which goes back to with the first part, you know, the chosen people. I don't know that we are chosen. I think humanity is chosen, and our teachings are we are chosen to make this world better. If you see somebody in your periphery that is in need or needs somebody, you should outstretch your hand and be there for somebody, whether they're Jewish or not Jewish. If somebody needs help, that's what we have been chosen to do. So not better than any other person who believes something totally different. By the same token, that's what charity is. Well, if you go to institutions, you know, you're sitting in the Goldman wing. Why am I in the Goldman wing? You know, why does your name have to be up there? That kind of negates the reason for just being good, which I find in a lot of religions, you know.
I don't know that I would say it negates it, but there's different levels of the mitzvah of tzedakah, and it's the
Oh, I think it negates it. I really do. I think as soon as
help is help, whether there's a name on it or not.
Well,
no?
I think the end result is help, but I'm talking about it negates tzedakah. Tzedakah is to be charitable for the only reason of being charitable, to give, to help, to be there for someone, not because you want to be recognized, not because you want people to think you're a better person, or you're rich, or you have money, or you have, and I think that's what a lot of the reasons are for the names on doors and benches and books.
So are you telling me that you're an incredible secret philanthropist?
No, but I give nothing and don't tell anybody about it.
Okay, deal. And just to go back to the chosen people thing, because I think we've talked about this on the show before, that there's this sort of what I would say is a misconception that it means chosen as in like better than. But we've talked about it, me and other guests, that we're chosen for a responsibility. And I sort of I described it as being chosen for latrine duty. I mean, it's like we're chosen to do all this stuff to try to make the world better. And then, as you say, that's not specific to Judaism to make the world better than you got here, but Jews are given these, like, here's 1,000 different ways that you're supposed to do it in each and every possible moment of human life, and it is your responsibility as a Jew. You have to do this stuff.
But as a human being, regardless of Judaism or whatever, the connotation of chosen is like, if you truly believe in God or a power greater than us, You were created and you were put here for a purpose. You are chosen. What is your purpose? Everybody has a purpose.
Yeah.
There is a reason for everybody. So that is the word, it is chosen.
Yeah.
So it's not like I was chosen and you weren't. Everybody was chosen, but what was I chosen for? Or what is my duty? And I believe life is a duty. Life isn't just an existence. We all have a duty. And we all have, and the duty is anything but self-serving and self-importance. Because whatever importance that you have given yourself, or you believe that you are building, or whatever notoriety you think, or whatever name you're putting on the wall, or whatever, that is so fleeting. It is absolutely so fleeting and has no value. Your legacy is just to kind of share goodness and positivity. That's what your legacy is. And my legacy right now is just my children. Like, people always ask people in our business, they'll go, how do you want to be remembered? Well, number one, that's the dumbest question in the world, because you're not going to be remembered. I don't care how big a star you are, you're not going to be remembered.
Some people get remembered, no?
In show business?
I remember Elvis.
Yeah, but that's three generations.
I remember Mozart.
Yeah. I'm saying there's exceptions to the rule, but I don't know. That's still in the blip of existence.
Sure.
I don't know. He's lasted longer than most, but who was the biggest musician around
2,000 years ago?
Yes. I don't know.
Right.
And you guys, your great-grandfather's father, what was his first name?
Do I know it?
No, you don't.
I don't think so.
No, you don't. And the point is that he was related to you and means more to your existence than Mozart does.
Right.
And the fact is that you don't remember him. So the point is we are such a blip in the existence of humanity. And nothing is important but now, not about what's going to happen now. And all you have to do as a Jew, and that's what our teachings are. I don't know that that's always what the interpretation of our teachings are, but all you have to do is make sure that in this moment, you are doing the best that you can do. And hopefully anybody that's coming in contact with you, hearing you in your geographical presence, is doing better because you're there.
Amen.
And that's our job. And that's what we as humanity has been chosen to do. I'm not tribal. I don't like tribes or organization.
What do you consider a family?
Humanity.
Your own nuclear family. Your
but
children.
there are people that I am closer to and I'm more responsible for. That, you can't do everything for everybody. So in the hierarchy of whatever your life is, you can choose how you want to give your time and your consideration to my nuclear family comes first.
Yeah.
But if I have anything left after that, you can only spread yourself so thin, and do so much and maintain a healthy, content life.
Yeah. How has your connection to being Jewish shifted, if at all, since October 7th and the aftermath?
I don't know that it is shifted. I think that there isn't a Jew alive that doesn't understand who we are and what we face and what we're up against. October 7th is like a horror movie. We are a moving target constantly.
What do you mean?
Jews, have always been since the beginning of time. But,
yeah.
It's more of a study in humanity, and humanity needs a target. It's really interesting. I always said, my in-laws and family members are Holocaust survivors. And I have always questioned, sometimes getting in trouble for this question. I said, I understand Hitler. I do understand Hitler. I do understand, I'm not condoning.
Right.
I'm saying I understand that somebody can be a psychopath and deranged and maniacal.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't understand, and I'm starting to understand as I get older, is how do you get a whole nation or all these people to follow a psychopath, you know? And that was always my question.
Right.
So I always go, so when you start, when you're in a room with a Holocaust survivor and you go, listen, I understand Hitler, what? You know, I'm not condoning.
Right.
I wish he never existed. He didn't deserve to exist.
Stark raving evil. I got that. That's clear. It's the
With
neighbors.
the puzzle to me is how do you get so many people,
everybody
educated, Mengele doctors,
Yeah.
and to do these things, to point out where a child is hiding and be a party to all this. How does that happen? And what I realize when you think about that, and it brings me back to the 7th, is hatred is a drug that everybody partakes in. It really is. You know, we look for a reason to hate, to be afraid of, to worry about.
You think that's natural?
I think it's...
Because kids don't hate unless they're taught to.
They don't hate. It turns into hate. So do you have children?
I have 3.
Okay. So if you look at your babies, and hopefully my babies, a lot of them are here, are good people. But if you put a baby beside another baby, and one baby is eating a cookie, and the other baby wants the cookie, the baby doesn't even open its mouth. The baby just takes the cookie.
Right.
If the baby doesn't want to give you the cookie or take the cookie, then without any hesitation, the other baby will just smash you in the head.
Right.
So that's violence.
Mm-hmm.
That's because I want what you have.
Sure.
Right. And if somebody else has something that you want or is perceived to be better, then I don't know if the word is hate, but it's a negativity. You get that baby will cry because he has a cookie and you don't. So I think that's the purest form of the beginning of whatever it is. Just like the perceived view of Jews have something that they don't have. And it's perceived. You know, Jews don't have all the money.
Of course not.
Jews don't have all the power. Jews are such a minute part, but it's a very powerful kind of fake news.
Yeah.
That's
a conspiracy theory.
The conspiracy theory.
People
But
love
that's
conspiracy theories.
because they love to go, okay, so what do people want? They want to have stuff. And when you don't have stuff, like the people living, you know, under the rule of Hamas, when you don't have stuff, and I think, you know, this is a planned by a larger community than just Hamas, because the Palestinian people are in dire need of food and government and care, and they've never been brought into their own, you know, so this terrorist organization, which is ruling them and needs to keep them oppressed.
Yeah.
And you keep them oppressed, and then that becomes your weapon. Because you go, oh, you're oppressed. You know why you're oppressed?
Those guys.
Right, those guys. And even in our own country, you know, you know, the division between a Republican and a Democrat. You know, 99% of people aren't happy, and it's because of the Republicans, or it's because of the Democrats, or it's because I'm going to fix the economy. It's always so the Jews have become a great scapegoat.
We're the OG scapegoat.
You know, October 7th, for a blip, we had people who were astonished and on our side.
Right.
And feeling a little bit of compassion.
Some people for like a day or two.
For a day or two. And then they used, and I think that was the plan, you know, and that's why they recorded things. And just because they wanted us to see, so that there'd be no question about a big retaliation. They needed a big retaliation to carry out the mission that they wanted to complete. And the mission they wanted to complete was to destroy Israel, to destroy and to continue the hate of Israel, because like we were just saying about people being remembered, I'm talking about the world.
Yeah.
Doesn't remember October 7th. They continue to remember every day after that.
Right.
So, it's kind of like when they lob 3 missiles into Israel,
Right.
and we retaliate with one, and God forbid an innocent child gets injured or hurt, they'll parade that. The world sees that. They don't see what happened in Israel.
Right.
So all of a sudden, everybody's against Israel.
Yep.
By the same token, I think it was the next day, I think it was October 8th, the big thing on the news after all the stuff of October 8th was there was a retaliation, and we hit a hospital. And as it turned out, it wasn't even, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, it wasn't October 8th, but it was soon after.
It was within days.
Yeah, it was close after, and it wasn't even an Israeli rocket, and it was less people than they said. It wasn't the building, it was a parking lot.
But it wasn't
It
wasn't
was a
our
misfired Islamic Jihad rocket.
Right. You know what's amazing to me? I'm in show business like you.
Yeah.
And every publicist that you've ever met is a Jew. We were supposed to be the masters of PR. We seem to be so bad in Israel because it seems
Israel doesn't care about PR. We might have some good PR in the States, but Israel, they don't care. They don't invest in it at all.
But PR is a big thing that they need to. I mean, even Hitler was dropping leaflets. He had a lot of leaflets. He had a lot of
he was the propaganda king. Yeah.
But everybody
We're getting crushed by propaganda.
Propaganda is how we live.
Mm-hmm.
Propaganda is what social media is.
I'll tell you, the Israeli mentality is like that stuff doesn't affect them internally. Like to them, it's like, well, as long as we're strong and like doing what we need to do, who cares what they're saying on social media in America? But they clearly underestimated the power of that, and they've not put any investment into it.
But they must see that they're not getting the support that they could get with the right PR.
I think there's like a level of arrogance of, we don't need XYZ, and like we're doing what's right, and like they'll see the truth. As long as we do what's right, people will get it. I mean, it's obviously it's not working.
No.
But I mean, I know from firsthand conversations, like there's no budget for it. Like they literally just don't invest in it as a government. Since October 7th, you've put your name on a couple of letters, like these public letters, clapping back at stuff or in support of things. You've posted for the hostages, all kinds of that stuff. Do you feel a sense of responsibility as a public-facing Jew to get out there and say stuff?
No, I don't feel a responsibility. I'm just as a human being. If you see something that you think is wrong in the world, whether it's wrong, something was done wrong to Israel, something is wrong at a film festival, when a movie's not being shown because of whatever the content is, then yeah, and I know about it and it's brought in front of me. I just want to be honest. I and everybody that I want to be friends with and everybody that I'm related to, I want you to do the right thing. I just want to do the right thing. I just always want to do the right thing. I don't always do the right thing, but I try to do the right thing. That's the only reason. I'm not on a campaign. I'm not political. I'm not even, I wouldn't put myself in any category. There's been things that have crossed in front of me that they want me to sign on, and I go like, I don't know about this. But the things that I've signed are things that I either am aware of, I feel like I have enough of education about, I feel it's not propaganda. I just want to do good things for everybody. I want to do as many good things for anything non-Jew related as Jew related. I don't think in those terms. I only think about myself. If something that I believe is being done wrong to any group, any people, at any time, anywhere in the world, and I can do something about it or help, I want to help. And I have there's one side, and that's humanity.
Would you say then, like, do you feel, I want to put this delicately, but like, do you feel no allegiance as a Jew to the Jews to specifically speak out on that? Like the same way that like maybe you wouldn't speak out about something happening in Nigeria because that's not your thing, even though it's wrong.
If I knew more about it, and I know there's shit going on in Nigeria, if I knew more about it, I would feel as obligated to talk about that as I do about things that I think that are unfair and wrong toward Jews, Israel, and I'm probably more apt to talk about Israel, and because that's who I am and that's what I know, and that's what I have family that, my wife's family lives in Haifa. So I know more about that. I'm not versed in what's going on in Nigeria, but I know there's like a genocide going on there. Yeah. And I'm as against that as I am against October 7th.
I think it can be and, right? I mean, it's like...
Well, that's what it is. But nobody has offered me...
Or.
Nobody has offered me anything to sign on to about Nigeria. They probably come to me. I think the reason I'm on this podcast is because I'm a Jew. But and Nigeria now hasn't offered me a spot on their podcast.
We'll send them a letter.
Okay.
Imagine owning a fully furnished $1.2 million apartment in Jerusalem. Beautifully designed, move-in ready, and complete with a large porch and sukkah. It's the perfect spot for your next visit to Israel. Or maybe even if you've been thinking about making Aliyah. That's what the Dream Raffle is all about. That's right, baby. It's back. A nonprofit fundraiser where every ticket gives you the chance to win that dream apartment and support incredible programs that protect and strengthen Israel. Proceeds help fund programs like the Israel Dog Unit, whose volunteers carry out life-saving search and rescue missions. The raffle has already built Israel's first dedicated rescue center, supplied ATVs and emergency gear, funded a bulletproof ambulance for Sderot after October 7th, and continues to help Israeli farmers affected by terror and the BDS movement. And here's the best part. Every ticket you buy automatically earns you the same number of entries into a $15,000 final bonus raffle at no extra cost. Use the code JONAH for double the tickets plus $10 off your order. The raffle ends Wednesday, March 11th. The drawing is on March 12th. So don't wait. 7 winners have already made their dreams a reality. You could be the 8th. Visit thedreamraffle.com, use code JONAH, and take your shot at owning your very own piece of Jerusalem. Many of you have likely heard about Sapir, the quarterly journal of ideas for a thriving Jewish future, edited by New York Times columnist Bret Stephens. But have you heard that print subscriptions to Sapir are free? That's right. You can receive 4 beautiful issues a year right in your mailbox at home, each on a theme of importance to the Jewish community, such as activism, diversity, faith, or Zionism, at no charge and requiring no credit card info. Like every episode of this show, every issue of Sapir explores important questions at the intersection of Jewish and American culture and politics, and features contributions from amazing writers, many of whom have appeared on this show, including Sarah Hurwitz, Noah Tishby, Dara Horn, Rabbi David Wolpe, Chef Michael Solomonov, and many others. Subscribe today at sapirjournal.org/beingjewish. Completely free of charge. That's Sapir, S-A-P-I-R, journal.org/beingjewish. Or click the link in the episode notes of wherever you're getting this pod. How many times have you been to Israel?
I've only been once, but my
Just
wife
the
has
one
been.
time.
My wife has been many times. I've only been once to Israel. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Did you visit the family in Haifa?
Yeah. Well, I didn't know they came to, we were in Tel Aviv, and then they came with us to Jerusalem. And I didn't go to Haifa. I have not been to Haifa.
Me neither. I've never been. I want to go. I've never been.
Where do you go? Tel Aviv?
Tel Aviv, Jerusalem,
Masada,
the Dead Sea. There was a clip that went viral from your show about a year ago with Ari Shafir, where you're talking about anti-Semitism being real and on the rise.
And he said it's not.
And he did say that it wasn't real. He said it was like overblown, basically. Like,
I don't agree with him. I didn't agree with him.
How do you feel now? Do you still did it give you anything to think about? You thought he was
this is
because I actually thought you were both kind of right. You were more right than he was.
Okay, thanks.
But I think it's both, because I think obviously it's real, especially now. I wonder it'd be a different conversation after Bondi Beach if you have the same kind of thing to say.
He would say I can't speak for Ari, but he would probably have the same argument because he is talking about his personal experience.
Right.
But
that's the part that I sort of agreed with. Like in my day-to-day life, walking around, if I didn't look at my phone, if I didn't watch the news, if I didn't open my computer, it would be great. And like, I keep that mentality a lot. And that's something that I tell to people is like, your life is okay. Like, don't freak out. There is social media induced hysteria and these cognitive biases that, like, because you're seeing it, you know, recently or a couple times, you think that's happening a billion times. It's not.
But it kind of is. I'll tell you why. Because I think most people are ignorant. And I'm not talking about Ari. I'm saying just generally most people are ignorant. Mm-hmm. And if you're on Bondi Beach and it's obviously a bar mitzvah, where, you know, it's a Jewish thing.
So then you make a Hanukkah celebration.
Or Hanukkah, or a Hanukkah celebration. It's obviously a Jewish. You've made yourself. Ari isn't walking around with a kippah on,
right?
Or tzitzim hanging out of his shirt. And I would imagine if you went over, we're in LA now, but if you went over to the Fairfax district and you ask any of those people, which is a much more Hasidic area, if you ask those people outside of Fairfax when they go someplace, if they encounter catcalls and things like that, I think they do. I believe they do. I believe that, you know, in Jewish cemeteries, stones are getting it in this country.
Right.
I think that you and I, walking down the street and living our everyday life, it doesn't really scream Jew. You know, we probably.
I mean, I rock this everywhere.
Yeah, but look at how you had that uncovered.
Because I got the Henley kind of buttons.
No, it doesn't matter, and people don't look closely. That's a small thing. I'm just saying that people who are
more visibly Jewish are obviously
right. It's just targets. Like, you know, I have friends. Black friends who they're targeted, you know, but it's harder to, I mean, when you're black, you're black.
Yeah.
When you're a Jew, unless your fly's open, you're not marked, you know, and the average person like you and me, I don't think that people, the first thing that comes to mind when they go to a Howie Mandel show is not Jew, though I mention it. I'm proud of it.
Yeah, there may be some people who.
I remember like the first time I did a show in the '80s called St. Elsewhere.
Sure.
And it was the first time I was on a big network show that was big at the time. That's where Denzel Washington came out of. And they set up a thing where they flew us to affiliates to all the different states and the affiliates to, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a press junket or something like that. And I went to Atlanta. It's the first time, and I remember like we were with the cast, and I remember somebody coming up to me. I was like taken aback, but somebody came up to me at the party and went, "Oh, you're that." My name wasn't known. My name was known as a stand-up comic, but not. People didn't even know that I was the same guy putting the glove on the head that was on this NBC drama. And he came up to me and he goes, "Oh, you play the Jew," and I just thought. So an interesting comment.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's positive. I don't think when you're referred to as a Jew from someone else, I don't think it's ever in a positive context, ever.
It's weird, right? It's like no one else really has that icky connotation at times with just the thing that they are.
Like nobody's going to go, "Are you a Jew?" And you go, "Yeah." And they go, "Those are the people I love the most."
Hey, some people.
Unless it's another Jew. But
or no, you know, like evangelical Christian maybe.
Okay.
You know.
But I'm just saying, even the way it's the tone that it's always.
I'm one of my good friends, so I'm now thinking of like, he's Jewish and he likes, he'd rather be called Jewish than Jew because he feels it's like there's something negative in it. Because of the way other people use it.
Jew. Yeah. But you can't even say it without like an icky face, right? Jew. It makes you.
Jew.
Oh, there you go. You're a good actor.
Yeah, thank you.
But Jew, it makes you like, ooh. It's too close to ooh.
Maybe that's what it is.
They put a J on ooh. Maybe we should change our title.
Hebrews.
The Hebrews.
It's kind of cool sounding.
Drates. Like to take great. Instead of ooh, take great. Like ooh with a J is a Jew, but great with a J is a drate. You're the drate. Are you a drate?
I was going to say like Jizraelis, but that doesn't work.
Ooh. Sticky.
So you are Canadian. I don't know if you knew that, but you're Canadian.
Thank you.
Are you paying attention to sort of what's going on for the Jewish community in Canada at all?
No.
No? Do you guys still have family there?
I do. I should pay attention.
It's not great.
No, I know that in Toronto there's been, they've told me it's bad.
Yeah, like my Canadian audience is having a real hell of a time.
They
over
really
the last 2
are.
years. Yeah, definitely worse than here for sure.
In Toronto and Montreal specifically.
Yeah.
Yes. So unlike Ari, you know, my family members had told me it's bad there, and there's marches there, and it's
I mean, it's even worse, like for a New York Jew than it is for an LA Jew. In LA, we drive around, you know,
Is it bad in New York?
Well, in New York, like on any given day, you could be walking down the street and there's a giant pro-Palestine, like loud protest in your face when like you're just trying to go to get a coffee or something.
But can you be pro-Palestine without being anti-Israel?
So it's a great question. So technically, the answer is, of course, yes. And people who are genuinely, like, what does that even mean, pro-Palestine, right? I think that's sort of the question. If you mean it in terms of, I'm someone who believes Palestinian people deserve sovereignty and dignity and human rights, then like so many of us are pro-Palestine. Like I'm pro-Palestine, you're pro-Palestine, right? Most good-hearted people are.
Right.
But the movement, like this, what they call the pro-Palestine movement, is generally an anti-Israel movement that calls itself a pro-Palestine movement. And most of these marches and demonstrations that you see, they're not people saying, you know, we would like dignity and you know, side-by-side safety and peace for all peoples of the region. They're saying from the river to the sea, get rid of the Jews. They're saying, you know, they're committing a genocide, all these libels. I mean, all this terrible stuff. They're going in front of synagogues and demonstrating. It's not a genuine sort of peace. You know, the fact that there were demonstrations on October 8th before Israel had even retaliated. There were anti-Israel or pro-Palestine demonstrations. Sort of tells you everything you need to know.
They probably weren't the good people, the people out on October 8th.
Oh, I know. I wouldn't say so.
Every tribe, every group is infiltrated, and they are the loudest by kind of a negative connotation.
I think it's, in this case, it's the opposite. I think that the genesis of this movement and the reason it exists is negative, and it pulls in people who aren't aware of that, who are well-intentioned, but sort of get swept up in what is very intentionally meant to be a hate movement against Jews. But they don't know that because it's hidden under this veil of social justice, of fighting oppression, of doing the right thing. But it's all based on libels and, you know, masquerading as righteousness.
Right. I'm not a demonstrator.
No, I've never gone to a protest of any kind.
I don't like crowds.
Yeah. Well, me neither.
No, unless I'm on the stage and they're down there.
Right. Exactly. I personally, I know there are other ways I can be more effective than showing.
You're doing it.
Crowd. Exactly. You know.
That's
what we do. Okay. So Hollywood. Let's talk about Hollywood a little bit. You've been in business a long time. How, if at all, has the landscape changed for Jews since you started?
I don't know that it has. You know, it's really funny because there is that conspiracy that, you know, it's run by the Jews. In fact, when, you know, it's kind of run by corporations now, which are not necessarily Jewish, grounded in Judaism. Right.
But, you know,
there were the Warner Brothers.
Yeah, it's based in fact.
And your father.
Jews did start Hollywood. I mean, it was a Jewish industry.
Yeah.
So I know where it comes from. I mean, what I'll always say is that, like, many of the Jews who are quote unquote running or involved in Hollywood are very disconnected from their Judaism. They're not doing anything on behalf of Jewish people. They might as well not be Jews for the purposes of that conspiracy.
But for the longest time, and I still think it exists. I'm just doing my own thing now, so I don't know. But there is a connotation of somebody seeming or being too Jewy to sell to a mass audience. That doesn't really sell to a mass audience. And so it's been kind of it wasn't a positive to be Jewy, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that.
And I don't
changed.
know that I'm saying it hasn't.
Yeah.
And it's not an asset. But
I mean, now that you mention it, you know, Howie Mandel is one of the more Jewish
Jewy
entertainment-y names out there.
But if you look at what I'm doing, it's kind of independent of the industry.
It wasn't in the 80s.
Then it wasn't even mentioned, and it was in the 80s I created my own stuff rather than getting hired.
Saying elsewhere.
Well, but my bigger
my
bigger notoriety came from stand up and cartoons and voiceovers and things like that I was creating and producing. But having come from stand up, I'm in total control of how that audience is perceiving me, when the show starts, when it ends, how it's going. I like control. It's immediate. It's energetic. It's fun. I don't want to say, hi, how you doing? And then cut and then go to your trailer and they're going to get it from another angle. And then 3 hours later, I still do.
Right.
People ask me to do little parts, but it's not a career that I wanted to. At a certain point, I turned down a lot of stuff until they stopped asking me to come. But I'm happy. I'm happy to be. I know you don't think it's exciting, but I'm happy to be in a warehouse in Van Nuys.
Well, this warehouse is exciting.
My happy place.
It looks and feels like a happy place.
My kids come and work here.
It's awesome.
People are creative here.
Yeah.
There's people doing different things that I don't even understand, and whether that's technology, whether that's gaming, whether that's acting and doing a scene from a movie, or whether that I just like to be around people who are creative, who think outside of a box, who don't. I'm not really good with corporations. I worked for corporations, for studios and things like that, and I felt like I was trying to throw a party at my parents' house.
I mean, you're like Mr. NBC.
I love NBC. They've given me my biggest breaks for over 40 years. Now, everything I've done has been on, well, a lot of what I've done. I've done things on other networks too, but I love them. I owe them. I'm still with them.
Yeah.
And hopefully they'll continue to keep me.
I wouldn't worry about that part.
I always worry about it.
Do you?
Yeah, I don't think you're in this
21 seasons of AGT?
You got to know this. You always figure whatever you're doing is the last. This is it. And at some point they're going to, and there is a point where somebody will
it's
come.
It's not going to go for 70 years.
Right. That's why I try to really live in the now, because if I don't live in the now, I'm getting fired tomorrow.
Right.
You wait till they see this and they go, "You're a Jew?" You're out.
Ah, you hit it so well all this time. Okay, speaking of you're a Jew, there's something I talk about a lot on the show and on social media, and this is the concept of going full Jew. And what I mean by that is we all, as a minority in this majority country, and when we are not the majority, we have this inner voice where sometimes there'll be something that Jewy that we want to do, that we want to lean into, but the voice is like, nah, that's too Jewy or too othery, or people will think that's weird or lame. What could you do, or have you ever wanted to do, or ever thought about doing that you could lean into to go more full Jew?
I don't think like that. I think the biggest issue with anybody's life, productivity, success is thinking. Thinking is not good for any human being. I think that we are an amazing species, humanity, where our impulse and instinct is right. And I never want to go coulda, shoulda, woulda. So there's been incredibly Jewy moments, and I'll lean into those Jewy moments. I'm very proud of who I am and how I act and how I was brought up and how I think. I'm very proud to talk about it, but I'm giving more thought to this answer than I would be about being Jewy or not being Jewy or trying to cover my Jewishness or leaning into my Jewishness. I understand. I'm in my 70s now, so I understand how nature versus nurture, the nurturing of being coddled in a Jewish family, has shaped how I respond and act in certain situations. And because I'm a comedian, I always see the humor in it. So sometimes when those happen, I will lean into it and maybe just getting as a sales tact, using guilt, which we're really, really good at.
It is a thing.
It's a thing. It's a superpower.
Yeah.
Do you have pets?
I do. I have 2 dogs.
Okay, so they will tell you when you're going to buy a breed, this breed is a very active breed. This breed is a very loyal breed. It's good with children. We are a breed of humanity that is traditionally, we're not all the same, but traditionally that has a certain kind of vibe and way of, if you want to generalize, but that's kind of
there's a culture.
There's a culture.
Yeah.
I grew up very differently than you, probably. You grew up in New York.
I grew up here in LA.
You grew up in LA, but you grew up in a very different world than I grew up. I'm from Toronto, middle class, but I think we have so much in common because of that culture, that Jewish culture. And it's very easy to lean into that and have fun with it and enjoy it. And we're like the schmear on the bagel.
We're the schmear and the bagel.
We are the schmear and the bagel. And in a meeting, you can be the schmear and the bagel. And in the selling and in the, look, it's making me, I'm leaning into Jewiness.
Okay. So now we've arrived at the segment of the show, 5 deep questions. If you want to check these out, you need to be part of our subscriber community, the Kehillah, which you can join on our website. Otherwise, we will see you after the flip. All right, we are basically out of time. I'm going to rush to the end of this because I got to have one final thing. Okay. So I'm going to jump to the end. We're going to play a little game. Your podcast is called Howie Mandel Does Stuff.
Right.
This is Howie Mandel Does Jewish Stuff.
Okay.
So let's find out what kind of Jewish stuff you do.
All right.
Do you ever go to temple?
Yeah, rarely.
When would you go, if you would go?
Other people's bar mitzvahs.
There you go.
Weddings. I haven't gone on the high holidays lately, but other people's simchas.
There you go. Nice. Bam. You know some Hebrew. Do you ever host Shabbat?
I've had people over on a Friday night, but it's not necessarily Shabbat. No, I don't light a candle.
Oh, you got to get Shabbat going. There's so you can go more full Jew. Get a Shabbat going this year. It's like the greatest thing in the world.
I should.
It's all about being present and like closing everything else out and just being with the people.
I have told a non-Jewish person in my house on a Friday night or even a Saturday, is there any way you could turn on the light for me?
There you go.
But it wasn't a Shabbat thing. They were just close to the switch.
Okay, we'll count it.
Yeah.
Do you ever fast on Yom Kippur?
I used to.
Yeah.
I don't anymore. I don't fast anymore. I should. I do between meals.
Yeah.
But not the whole. No, do you fast?
On Yom Kippur, I do, yeah.
Yeah. Everything in Judaism is around eating or not eating.
Many things. Do you celebrate Shavuot?
No.
Do you know what Shavuot is?
I just think that it's somebody yelling shout out with a speech impediment.
Perfect. Do you ever lead a Seder?
Maybe the first 2 questions.
Nice.
I have, yes. We did a Seder once, and I had it catered, and I hired a Motown a cappella foursome to do the 4 questions. It was the most beautiful thing. It was like the Temptations.
Just to do the one song, you had them come in?
Yeah. Is there another song?
There's a bunch of songs you could do on
Dayenu.
Passover. Could get them to do Dayenu, Chag Gadya. You would love Chag Gadya. You know that one?
What about me says you would love Haggadah?
Because it goes through all these different like animals, and there's a stick and a dog and a cat and a thing.
Huh?
And at least what my family does, a lot of families do, is you do like a sound effect for each one of them. So you'd be like voiceovering through the song.
Never did that.
Yeah,
I like getting up and washing the hands.
Yeah, there you go. You get to do it twice on Passover.
But I would just sit at the table with Purell.
Do you ever see a famous Jew on TV and say to your kids, that's one of ours?
More than that is seeing something on the news where somebody's done something bad and the name sounds Jewy.
Yeah.
And I go, adopted. He's got to be adopted.
Do you ever wear a kippah?
I did, but I look like Friar Tuck, and it just looks like a bad tooth. I do. I just did something for the LAPD. I don't think I have it here, but they gave me a kippah with a badge.
What?
So I have that. Yeah, an LAPD badge.
Why did they give you a kippah?
I think because they thought that's what I would like. They just gave me. They gave me. It's that navy velvet kippah.
He's a Jewish guy. He probably wants this.
Yeah. They said, "Do you want a hat?" And I went, "Okay." Thinking I was going to get a hat. I got a kippah from the LAPD.
That's very sweet.
Thank you. Yeah, that's it.
So shout out to the LAPD. Do you own a talit?
Of course.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. And last, I asked this of all my guests, and I think I know the answer for you. Challah. Do you rip it or do you slice it?
I just take it.
So you
Oh,
ripped
you want? Can I tell you a quick challah thing?
Hit me.
Yeah. So they asked me to do a benefit for Holocaust survivors at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I said yes. And I would go on. This guy here, Rich, he's standing there. Rich was,
Shout out to Rich, the producer.
yeah, who isn't Jewish. He went the other place. He's not Jewish. So he comes up to my room. I'm preparing. I'm going to go do a show, a little stand-up, and the money is going to go for Holocaust survivors.
Amazing.
And he comes up like angry. And he says to me, they put on an opening act and they didn't tell me, because he'll front all the shows. You know, we need this kind of mic, we need this.
Sure.
So he comes and he goes, they put on an opening act and they didn't tell me, and it's horrible. It's a horrible act. Nobody's responding, everybody's just staring. And I go, what is it? He goes, I think it's a singer. They put on a singer and they didn't tell us? And I go down with him, and it was the rabbi doing hamotzi and cutting the challah before the night.
Aww.
And Rich thought that was the opening act.
That's very sweet.
Yeah, it wasn't.
So do you rip it or do you slice it?
I've never touched it. I think I eat ripped pieces.
I'm surprised. I thought you for sure were going to be a slicer.
No, my
because
mom
you're not
used
trying
to. My mom
get your hands in there.
Yeah,
But your mom would rip.
There's
and
a piece,
pass,
and then
like
when
rips
you
and pass.
right, and then when you have the minions, when I was going and doing that whole thing, they'd have the bread of all ripped pieces. Somebody pre-ripped.
Pre-ripping. Okay.
Pre-ripping.
Howie, we didn't have time to discuss your holoportation devices or your esports team you co-own with T-Pain, but at least I got to say that insane sentence.
Proto-hologram. There you go.
Proto-hologram. Boom. Thank you for your candor, for inviting me into your place, and for using your voice. Even, when you don't think you're even doing anything, it means something to folks. So I appreciate that. And it's really needed. So thank you.
Thank you, buddy, for having me.
Thanks. And that's all I got, folks. We'll see you back here for the next zany episode of Being Jewish with me, Jonah Platt.
Bye, Yeladim.
Nice.